She thought she had him all figured out until one night changed everything. And what happened next will leave you speechless. Stay tuned because you are about to watch a beautiful story and find out what happened next. Hello, family. Welcome to Storytime Mutually. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share this video to your friends and loved ones. Your support and engagement encourage me to post more videos. Thank you as you do so. Sit back, relax as we dive into the story. Michael Grayson had always believed in doing things the right way. Raised in a Christian home in the heart of Texas, he was taught to wait for marriage before touching a woman in that way. And he did. For 29 long years, he stayed true to that promise. He wasn't bad-looking, tall, lean with soft blue eyes, a clean-shaven face, and a warm smile. He worked as a software engineer and lived a quiet life. He didn't sleep around. He didn't party. He waited for love. Then came Jessica Hale. Jessica was everything he ever dreamed of. She was bold, confident, and beautiful, smooth brown skin, deep brown eyes, full lips, and a voice that made heads turn when she spoke. She worked in real estate, made good money, and always dressed like she stepped out of a fashion magazine. They met at church one Sunday, and from the moment she smiled at him, he was hooked. They dated for 2 years. Michael treated her like a queen. Flowers every week, handwritten letters, and late-night talks about the future. Jessica liked the attention, the safety, the loyalty. She liked being adored. But behind that pretty smile, she also had doubts, deep ones she never spoke out loud. "He's sweet," she once told her sister, "but I hope he knows what he's doing in bed. I can't fake it forever." Still, they got married. The wedding was beautiful. Flowers, music, candles, dancing. Michael couldn't stop smiling. He had waited so long for this night for her. Finally, it was time. When they got to the hotel suite, Michael carried Jessica across the threshold. She laughed, tossed her heels aside, and collapsed on the king-sized bed. "Well," she said playfully, "you waited. Now you better be worth it." Michael's heart pounded in his chest. He tried to smile, but his hands were shaking. He had no experience, no real idea what to do. He had read articles, watched videos in secret, even practiced breathing exercises, but nothing prepared him for the real thing. They kissed slowly at first. Jessica guided him, pulling him closer, taking off her dress in one smooth motion. She looked stunning, bare skin, soft curves, glowing under the dim light. Michael undressed, nervous, careful. When his pants came off, Jessica's eyes fell to his manhood. She didn't say anything at first, but her smile faded a little. He didn't notice. He was too focused, too caught up in the moment. They got under the covers. Jessica opened her legs and pulled him closer. Michael entered her for the first time, and just as quickly, it was over. He gasped, groaned, and collapsed beside her, heart racing, body sweating. Jessica blinked. "Wait, what?" Michael turned his head, embarrassed. I think I just finished." She stared at him, confused. Then she laughed. Not loudly, but enough. "Are you serious?" she asked, sitting up. That was like 15 seconds. Michael looked at the ceiling, shame flooding through him. "I was just nervous. It'll be better next time." Jessica didn't say anything for a moment. She grabbed a towel and walked to the bathroom without looking back. The next morning, Jessica acted like everything was fine. Smiled at breakfast, held his hand at church. But when they were alone, her attitude changed. That night, she hesitated before getting into bed. "Are we going to try again?" Michael asked gently. Jessica sighed. "Maybe. But, are you sure you're ready?" "I'll do better. I promise." They tried again. And again. But each time it ended fast. Too fast. Jessica stopped hiding her frustration. "Mike, seriously, this isn't normal," she said one night. "I don't even get time to feel anything before you're done." He tried everything, slowing down, thinking of boring things, taking breaks, but it never worked. Every night ended with Jessica disappointed and Michael more ashamed. After a week, she started sleeping in a t-shirt and long pants, turning her back to him at night. When he touched her, she moved away. The worst came 2 weeks into the marriage, when Jessica, tired and irritated, snapped during an argument.
You're a good man, Mike.
A sweet man. But your manhood? It's just not enough. And the sex? You last 15 seconds, maybe. I feel like I married a boy, not a man.
Michael didn't speak. He couldn't.
Her words felt like knives in his chest. He nodded, walked into the bathroom, and locked the door. Michael stayed in that bathroom for over an hour. He sat on the edge of the tub, fully dressed, staring at nothing. His reflection in the mirror looked unfamiliar. Tired eyes, sunken cheeks, and a weight in his chest he couldn't shake. Jessica's words echoed in his mind like thunder in a silent room. Your manhood? It's just not enough. And the sex? You last 15 seconds, maybe. I feel like I married a boy, not a man. He had waited years to be with someone like Jessica. He gave her everything, his loyalty, his love, his body, and in return, he felt small. Not just physically, but deep inside. Like a joke she couldn't stop laughing at. When he finally walked out of the bathroom, Jessica was already asleep, or at least pretending to be. The covers were pulled over her, and her back was to him. Michael got into bed slowly, staying on his side without touching her. The silence between them said everything. Days passed, and things didn't get better. Jessica still played the perfect wife when they were outside, smiles at church, kisses on the cheek at family dinners, hand-holding in public. But behind closed doors, she barely looked at him. The bedroom stayed cold. Touch had disappeared. She stopped trying, and so did he. Michael stopped initiating anything. He was too embarrassed, too unsure, too afraid of being humiliated again. One night, as she sat scrolling on her phone, Jessica mumbled something under her breath. Michael glanced over. What did you say? She shrugged. Just chatting with Amanda. She's got this new guy who, definitely knows what he's doing. Michael said nothing. Jessica didn't stop. She said he went for 2 hours.
2.
Said she could barely walk the next day. Michael's stomach twisted. Another night, as they were folding laundry, Jessica said with a little laugh, I mean, no one expects fireworks every time, but 15 seconds? That's barely a spark. He didn't even ask who she was talking to. He knew. Jessica never said it directly, but her little comments, sarcastic smiles, and side glances made it clear she was embarrassed of him, disappointed, maybe even disgusted. The worst came 2 weeks later. Michael had come home early from work, hoping maybe, just maybe, he and Jessica could talk. He wanted to try again, to be close again. He even brought flowers, thinking a small gesture might help. But when he stepped into the house, he heard her on the phone in the bedroom. Her voice was low, but the walls were thin. I swear, Amanda, I don't know how to tell him. He thinks love is enough, but girl, I need a man, not a quick cuddle and a disappointment.
She paused.
Then laughed. No, I'm serious. It's like, poof, it's done. I've had milk froth longer than that. Michael stood frozen in the hallway, flowers still in hand, heart sinking lower than ever. She kept talking, not knowing he was just feet away. And don't get me started on size. It's small. Like, I don't even know how to describe it without sounding mean. He says he's nervous, but how nervous can you be every single time?
She sighed.
I just want to feel something. Anything. Michael quietly turned and walked out the door. The flowers stayed on the kitchen counter, untouched. That night, he drove to a quiet park and sat in his car under the street lamp, engine off, phone on silent. He stared into the dark trees, thoughts spinning. Was she right? Was something wrong with me? Is it size? Is it control? Am I broken? He thought about his whole life, how he waited, stayed loyal, followed the rules, and still ended up here. Feeling like a mistake. That's when his phone buzzed. A single message from Derek Matthews. Derek, yo, everything good with you, bro? Haven't heard from you in a minute. Michael stared at the screen. He didn't know what to say. But something inside him broke open. Michael, no. Not good at all. I think my wife hates me. I think she's laughing at me behind my back. The reply came quickly. Derek, where are you? I'm coming. 20 minutes later, Derek pulled up beside Michael in his red pickup truck. Loud music played from his speakers, but he turned it off when he saw the look on Michael's face. Michael didn't say much at first, just stared ahead, hands in his lap. Derek leaned on the steering wheel. "Let me guess, it's Jessica again." Michael nodded slowly. "She said I'm not a man. That my body isn't enough. That I don't last. She laughs about it with her friends. I heard her." Derek's face darkened. "That's cold, man. Real cold." Michael exhaled shakily. "Maybe she's right." Derek looked at him, dead serious. "Don't you ever say that again." Michael shook his head. "You don't understand. I try. I love her, but it's never enough. She makes me feel like I'm less than a man." Derek was quiet for a moment. Then he leaned forward. "Then let's fix it." Michael blinked. "Fix it?"
"Yeah, all of it," Derek said.
"The size, the control, the confidence, whatever it takes." Michael hesitated. "That stuff doesn't really work. Pills, ads, fake clinics, they all lie." Derek's eyes narrowed. "Not this one. I know a guy. He's helped people, real people. Quietly. No gimmicks. But you have to be serious. You in?" Michael looked down at his hands, then back up at his friend. "I'm in. I've got nothing left to lose." Derek smiled. "Good. Because the man she made fun of is about to become someone she'll never forget." The next morning, Michael woke up with a strange feeling. For the first time in weeks, he didn't feel like hiding. He wasn't okay, not yet, but something had changed. Something had shifted. He remembered Derek's words the night before. The man she made fun of is about to become someone she'll never forget. It played in his mind like a fire starting to grow. Jessica was already downstairs, dressed in her tight jeans and red blouse, sipping coffee like nothing had happened. She barely looked up when he walked into the kitchen. "Morning," she said flatly. Michael nodded.
"Morning."
He didn't say anything else. He didn't beg for her attention or ask for another chance. He just poured his coffee in silence. Jessica glanced at him. She seemed almost annoyed that he wasn't chasing her this time. By the time she left for work, Michael had already packed a small bag. He texted Derek. "Michael, ready whenever you are." Derek replied instantly. "Derek, pick you up in 15. Let's fix this." They drove for an hour, past the suburbs, and into the outer edge of a city. The streets grew older, rougher. Empty warehouses and tall, rusted fences lined the road. Finally, they pulled up to an old brick building with no signs, no windows, just a heavy black door with a security camera above it. Michael hesitated. "This doesn't look like a clinic." Derek smiled. "That's the point. This place doesn't advertise. No one even knows it exists unless someone brings you here." Michael stepped out of the car and followed Derek to the door. Derek knocked 3 times, paused, then knocked twice more. The door clicked open. Inside was a long hallway lit with low, yellow lights. The air smelled like leather and something faintly metallic. At the end of the hall stood a tall, older man in a gray coat. His head was shaved, and his sharp eyes studied Michael like he was reading a book without opening it. "You must be Michael," the man said calmly. "I'm Dr. Ramsey." Michael shook his hand. The man's grip was firm, commanding. He didn't smile, but he didn't need to. His presence alone felt powerful. They entered a private room, clean but not cold like a hospital. A sleek black exam table sat in the center, with digital charts and strange tools laid out neatly on the counters. Dr. Ramsey motioned for Michael to sit. "I've worked with men from every background," he began. "Athletes, executives, even soldiers. All of them came here because they felt like something was missing. Most thought they were broken. But they weren't. They were just unfinished." Michael listened carefully, unsure of what he meant. Dr. Ramsey pulled up a screen showing diagrams of male anatomy, blood flow systems, and nerve sensitivity. "The issue isn't just size or stamina," he explained. "It's control, strength, awareness. You don't need to be a porn star. You need to be present, trained, and enhanced." He turned to Michael. "We're going to help you with all 3. Michael leaned forward. "What exactly does this involve?" Dr. Ramsey began listing the plan, one step at a time. 1. Hormone balancing, natural therapy to boost testosterone safely and regulate energy levels. 2. Pelvic floor strengthening, intense exercises to control timing, pressure, and endurance. 3. Blood flow enhancement, a special injection therapy to improve circulation and fullness without danger. 4. Edge precision training, mental and physical control sessions, designed to push performance far beyond the average. 5. Structural enhancements, a size-boosting treatment using medically approved techniques, non-surgical, but lasting. Michael sat in stunned silence. And all this actually works? He asked. Dr. Ramsey nodded. If you're disciplined, yes. You'll need 6 to 8 weeks. No skipping steps. No excuses. But when you're finished, you won't recognize yourself. And neither will she. Michael started that same day. The first week was tough. Every morning started with stretches, breathing control, and special exercises that left him sore in places he didn't even know had muscles. The injections weren't painful, but they left him feeling warm, charged, and strange for a few hours. A deep tingling, a heaviness that grew week by week. Derek was there every few days, checking in like a personal coach. How's the thunder stick? Derek joked with a grin. Michael smiled weakly. More like a rumbling cloud right now. But inside, he could already feel it. Something was changing. By the second week, his body felt stronger. Not just physically, but emotionally, too. His confidence returned slowly, like sunlight after a long storm. He was sleeping better, walking taller, thinking clearer. And the mirror began to show someone new. His manhood had changed, thicker, fuller, with better response. Not magic, not fake, just better. Like he had finally unlocked something buried inside him. By week 5, even Jessica noticed. She caught him coming out of the shower one evening and paused, eyes trailing down his body. She didn't say anything, but the surprise on her face said enough. That night, she even wore her silk nightgown to bed, a rare sight lately. But Michael didn't chase. He simply said, "Good night," and turned over. Jessica stared at the ceiling in silence. By week 6, the transformation was nearly complete. Dr. Ramsey examined him carefully. You're ready. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. You have complete control now. No more 15 seconds. No more fear. Michael nodded. Thank you, doctor. Ramsey didn't smile. Don't thank me. Go show her. Michael left the clinic with a quiet fire in his chest. He knew exactly what he was going to do. Not for revenge. Not for show. He was simply going to give Jessica the one thing she always said she wanted. And this time, he would not hold back. The sky was painted with soft shades of orange and violet, the street quiet and calm. But inside him, there was nothing calm. His heart beat slow and steady, not from nerves, but from purpose. For the first time in a long while, he felt in control of his body and his mind. He stepped inside the house. The familiar scent of vanilla candles floated through the hallway. Jessica was in the kitchen, leaning over her phone with a glass of wine in one hand. She glanced up when she heard the door open. You're back late, she said. Michael set down his keys. Had some things to finish. Jessica raised an eyebrow. You've been busy a lot lately. Michael nodded.
Yes, I have.
There was a silence between them. Not cold, but different. Jessica looked at him longer than usual. Her eyes ran over his frame. He'd always been lean, but now there was something firmer in the way he moved, more solid, more confident. Even his walk was different.
Calm.
Grounded. He didn't look nervous anymore. He didn't look lost. She tilted her head. You okay? Michael smiled slightly. Never better. Jessica blinked, then looked away, sipping her wine. Well, I was about to go to bed. Long day. Michael walked past her to the stairs. Then let's go. She looked up, surprised.
He didn't ask.
He didn't hesitate. He simply said it and walked upstairs. Something stirred in her chest. Curiosity?
Confusion?
Maybe even excitement. She followed him, quietly. The bedroom was dim, lit only by the soft glow of a bedside lamp. Michael stood near the dresser, slowly unbuttoning his shirt. Jessica sat on the edge of the bed, watching him, unsure what to expect. He took his time, undressing without rushing. There was no awkwardness, no fumbling like before. His movements were smooth, confident, like a man who knew exactly who he was. Jessica looked at him differently now. He doesn't look the same. He doesn't act the same. What's changed? He stepped toward the bed and looked at her, deeply, steadily. We don't have to do anything, he said gently. But if we do, I want it to be real this time. Jessica hesitated. For a second, the smart comment almost slipped out of her mouth, some leftover sarcasm she'd used so many times before. But she didn't say it. Instead, she nodded. Okay. Jessica slid off her clothes slowly. This time, it wasn't out of routine. Something about the way Michael was looking at her, calm, steady, present, made her feel a little nervous herself. She lay back, the sheets cool against her skin. Michael joined her. No rush. No panic. When he touched her, it was different. Gentle, but strong. Firm, but not rough. She gasped softly, not from surprise, but because it felt. For the first time in months, it actually felt good. His hands knew exactly where to be. His mouth explored her with purpose, not guesswork. His fingers, slow and controlled, made her hips move without her even realizing it. She moaned lightly. 10 seconds became a minute. A minute became 5. And he still wasn't close to finished. Michael, she breathed. What is this? He leaned down, his voice low. You said I only lasted 15 seconds. So I made every second count. Her legs twitched. Her hands gripped his shoulders. She couldn't stop moving. Couldn't stop reacting. 10 minutes in, she was sweating. 15 minutes in, she was shaking. 20 minutes in, stop, she cried, breathless. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. I can't take any more. Michael kept the same rhythm, never breaking control. Jessica slapped his chest with a laugh and a whimper. Michael, I swear, I'll run. He raised an eyebrow. Go ahead. That was it. Jessica let out a half laugh, half scream, rolled out of the bed in one motion, grabbed the edge of the sheet to cover herself, and sprinted toward the door, legs wobbling, hair sticking to her forehead. She didn't care that she was only halfway covered. She didn't care that her robe was still across the room. All she knew was she had to get out of there. Down the hallway she went, tripping slightly as she turned the corner, panting like she'd escaped a wild storm. Michael stayed in the bed, lying back against the pillows, calm as ever. His chest rose and fell slowly. He looked at the doorway she had just run through and gave a soft laugh. From 15-second man to too much to handle. The silence in the room was full of something new.
Power.
Satisfaction. Control. He hadn't said much, but he didn't need to. Tonight, his actions said everything. Downstairs, Jessica leaned against the wall in the hallway, breathing like she'd just run a marathon. She whispered to herself, eyes wide. What the hell just happened to my husband? She touched her chest and looked toward the stairs. That wasn't Michael, that was a machine. Jessica sat on the living room couch in the dim light, her back pressed against the armrest, a sheet wrapped tightly around her. Her chest rose and fell like she had just run a mile. Her legs were weak, her hands trembling slightly. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt all over again. The pressure, the rhythm, the heat. The man upstairs wasn't the same man she used to laugh at behind his back. She looked up toward the ceiling. It was quiet. Too quiet. Michael hadn't followed her. That surprised her more than anything. He used to chase me, apologize, beg. But this time, he stayed in bed, like he didn't even need to explain anything. Jessica stood slowly, her legs still shaky. She looked down at herself, her skin still flushed, her heartbeat still uneven. What did he do to me? She whispered. Her body felt like it had been rewired. Her thighs were sore. Her lips still tingled. Her heart couldn't decide if it was scared or thrilled. There had been passion before, brief, soft, forgettable. But this was different. Michael had taken control of everything, his body, her body, and the room itself. He didn't rush. He didn't fumble. He didn't ask what she wanted. He already knew. She poured herself a glass of water with shaking hands, but even drinking it felt odd.
Her throat was dry.
Her mind was foggy. She paced the kitchen for a while, then wandered to the window. Outside, the moon hung quietly in the sky. Inside, her world had turned upside down. Upstairs, Michael had showered and dressed in comfortable lounge pants. He sat on the edge of the bed, calm, collected. He wasn't smiling with pride or smugness. He didn't even feel the need to brag. He just felt free. The man she had mocked was gone. The man who had cried alone in the bathroom was gone. This was a new version of him, sharper, stronger, and no longer waiting for permission. He looked around the bedroom, eyes scanning the rumpled sheets, the dropped robe, and the faint trail of her perfume still in the air. Then he leaned back against the pillows and closed his eyes with a quiet sigh. Downstairs, Jessica finally stood up. Her mind was racing. Her body didn't want to go back upstairs. But her pride couldn't let her stay downstairs like some flustered teenager. She fixed the sheet around her chest, lifted her chin, and slowly walked up the steps. Each step felt heavy. When she reached the bedroom door, she stopped. The light was still on. She took a deep breath, then pushed the door open. Michael didn't even turn his head. He was lying there, calm, relaxed, reading something on his phone. She stepped inside. He glanced up. "You all right?" Jessica paused. "Do I look all right?" He smiled slightly. "You look a little shaken." She folded her arms, still clutching the sheet. "You planned that, didn't you?" Michael set his phone down.
No.
"I trained for it. There's a difference." She stepped closer. "Where did you learn that?" "That, whatever that was." He raised an eyebrow. "You said I wasn't enough. You said I only lasted 15 seconds. I figured it was time to prove you wrong." Jessica stared at him. "You didn't prove me wrong. You—" She stopped herself, words failing. Michael waited. Her mouth opened again, but this time her tone was soft. "I couldn't even breathe, Michael. You didn't give me a break. I ran." Michael stood up slowly. He walked over to her, gently pulled the sheet from her grip, and let it fall to the floor. She gasped softly. He stepped close, his voice quiet but firm. "You used to run this house, Jessica. You used to run me, but not anymore." She looked up at him, breath catching. "I didn't do this to hurt you," he said. "I did it because I got tired of feeling like I wasn't a man. Now, I don't need you to tell me who I am." Jessica's mouth trembled. She had never heard him speak like this. Not begging, not soft, not broken, just real. She touched his arm, uncertain. "Do you still want me?" she asked softly. Michael paused. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. "Do you deserve me?" Jessica swallowed hard. "I don't know." Michael stepped away. "You should figure that out." Then he walked past her, calm and confident, heading toward the bathroom. Jessica stood frozen in the middle of the bedroom. The sheet was still on the floor, the room still smelled like his skin, and her heart was still racing, but Michael was gone. The sound of running water came from the bathroom, soft and steady, as if the man who had just flipped her entire world upside down wasn't even thinking about it. "Do you still want me? Do you deserve me?" His words echoed in her head like a bell in an empty hall. She slowly sat on the edge of the bed, covering herself with the blanket. Her mind swirled. All the times she used to roll her eyes at him. All the quiet comments she made behind his back. All the nights she turned away, pretending she was tired. Now, suddenly, she was the one unsure. He's not begging anymore. He doesn't need me. He's beyond me. For the first time since they got married, Jessica didn't feel superior. She felt small, not because he made her feel that way, but because she had spent so long thinking she was the prize. Michael stepped out of the bathroom a few minutes later, wrapped in a towel, his skin warm from the shower. He looked fresh, peaceful, not angry, not proud, just content. Jessica looked up from the bed, watching him silently. He walked past her, picked up a pair of lounge pants, and slipped them on without a word. Michael, she said finally, her voice softer than usual. He looked at her. She hesitated, then stood and slowly walked over to him. I'm sorry, she said, her eyes dropping. For the things I said before. For making fun of you. For not being better. Michael didn't answer right away. He simply watched her, his expression unreadable. Jessica stepped closer, placing her hand gently on his chest. I didn't realize what I had, she whispered. Michael's hand came up and wrapped around hers, but not tightly. Not with emotion.
Just calm.
Now you do, he said. Jessica looked into his eyes. Can we start over? Michael tilted his head slightly. Start what over? Jessica swallowed. Us. He didn't pull away, but he didn't lean in either. I'm not the same man anymore, Jess, he said. I waited. I gave you time. I gave you love. And you pushed me aside like I didn't matter. Her grip on his chest tightened. You do matter. I just didn't see it then. Michael stepped back gently, letting go of her hand. I don't know if I believe that anymore. The next few days were different. Jessica tried everything to get his attention. She cooked his favorite meals. She dressed in his favorite colors. She even wore the silk nightgown he once bought her, but she never used until now. But Michael wasn't cold. He was just unbothered. He came home, ate dinner, took his shower, slept peacefully. He didn't chase.
He didn't ask.
Jessica started to feel something she had never felt before in this marriage. Replaced. Unseen. Out of sync. One night, she sat beside him on the couch and placed her hand on his thigh. Michael didn't move. Do you still love me? She asked quietly. Michael looked at her, not harshly, not cruelly, just directly. I'm still deciding. Jessica blinked. Still deciding? You wanted a man who could handle you. Now you're struggling to handle me, he said. Jessica lowered her gaze. I didn't mean to hurt you. Michael nodded. You just didn't care if you did. Her eyes filled with emotion, but she blinked it away. I was stupid, she whispered. I took you for granted. Michael turned off the TV and stood up. You were used to having all the power. Now that it's not yours anymore, you don't know what to do with it. Jessica stood too, reaching for him. Then show me. Teach me how to fix this. He looked down at her hand, then into her eyes. I'm not here to teach you anything, he said. I already did the work. Now it's your turn. That night, Michael slept soundly. Jessica, however, lay awake beside him, staring at the ceiling. Her mind was racing with thoughts she never had before. Thoughts of what she had lost. Thoughts of the man she no longer controlled. And thoughts of the new Michael, the man who had become everything she asked for, just not on her terms. The bed felt cold next to him. Not because he was distant, but because he no longer needed her warmth. The next morning, Jessica didn't put on any makeup. No perfume. No fake smiles. She walked into the kitchen barefoot, her hair messy from the pillow. Michael was at the counter making coffee. She stood there for a moment, just watching him. He looked over at her and gave a small nod. Morning. Jessica stepped forward. Her voice was quiet. Can we talk? Michael poured 2 cups of coffee and handed her one without a word. Then he sat across from her at the kitchen table. She looked down into her cup, gathering her words. I was wrong, she said softly.
About you.
About what makes someone a real man. Michael didn't interrupt. I made fun of you. I compared you. I didn't think about how much damage that could do. You were always kind, always patient, and I treated that like weakness. She looked up, her eyes full of honesty. I want to change. Not because you became stronger, or because I'm scared of losing you, but because I finally see you for who you really are. Michael leaned back in his chair, thinking. I believe you, he said, but we can't go back to how things were. Jessica nodded. I don't want to go back. I want something better. Something honest. They spent the rest of that day talking, not about what had gone wrong, but about how to move forward. They were open, careful, and real. Michael told her how he had worked to gain control over his body, not just to prove a point, but because he had felt helpless for too long. Jessica listened. For once, she didn't defend herself or make excuses. She simply heard him. Then, gently, she asked, "Can we try again? From the beginning, this time as equals." Michael looked at her, then reached out and touched her hand. "Yes," he said. That night, they took things slow. Jessica didn't try to take the lead. Michael didn't try to dominate. They let go of past mistakes. They kissed softly. They touched with care. They felt each other, not just skin but emotion.
Trust.
Michael showed her what control truly meant. It wasn't about lasting forever or proving anything. It was about being fully present, feeling every moment, listening to her breath, guiding the pace with care. And Jessica responded with something new: surrender, not out of fear, but out of comfort. She didn't run this time. She stayed. She whispered his name not out of shock, but out of love. She moaned, not from surprise, but from deep, complete satisfaction. When they finished, their bodies wrapped in warmth, Jessica rested her head on his chest. "I didn't know it could be like that," she whispered. Michael smiled. "Neither did I. Until I stopped trying to be enough for you, and just became enough for myself." In the days that followed, their love deepened. They laughed more, held hands again, talked about dreams they once left behind. They even began exploring what worked for them as a couple, trying new things, setting time aside just for intimacy, creating space for both passion and play. It wasn't perfect every time, but it was theirs.
Honest. Real.
Growing. One sunny afternoon, Michael drove over to Derek's house. Derek was outside working on his truck, music playing low from a speaker. Michael leaned on the hood with a grin. "Still playing mechanic, huh?" Derek looked up and chuckled. "Still turning wrenches. What about you? You fixed your engine." Michael nodded slowly. "Better than fixed. Tuned up. Balanced." Derek wiped his hands and gave him a long look. "So, she's back." "She never left," Michael said.
But now?
"She's with me. All the way." Derek smiled wide.
Damn.
"I'm proud of you, man." Michael handed him a small black box. Inside was a custom keychain engraved with, "To the one who believed before I did." Derek blinked, then laughed. "You're gonna make me soft, bro." Michael shrugged.
Had to say, thank you.
"You saw something in me before I saw it myself." Derek clapped him on the shoulder. "Nah, you just needed a little nudge. But the real work, that was all you." They stood there for a moment. Two men, two friends, two brothers who had been through the quiet war of self-doubt and found victory not in revenge, but in growth. That evening, Michael returned home. Jessica was lighting candles on the back patio, her hair tied up, wearing the soft sweater he loved. He walked over and kissed her forehead. "Everything okay?" she asked. Michael wrapped his arms around her from behind. "Perfect."
She leaned into his chest.
"So, what do we call this new version of us?" she whispered. Michael smiled. "Stronger."
Softer.
"Realer." And with the evening breeze blowing gently around them, they stood in silence. No need to fix anything, no need to prove anything, because now they had finally found what they were both searching for: balance.
Love.
And each other. That brings us to the end of this video. If you find this video interesting and engaging, please subscribe to my channel for more stories. Like and share this video to your friends and loved ones. Also, drop your comments about what you feel in this story in the comments section. Thanks for watching.